Hey everyone, welcome back to Mosine Insights. Today we're diving into a critical topic that affects everything from your smartphone to fighter jets, rare earth elements. These 17 minerals power our modern world, but here's the catch. China controls nearly 90% of the global supply chain. So can the US and Europe break free from China's grip on these vital resources? Let's find out. First, let's break it down. Rare earth elements like neodymium, dysprosium, and lanthanum are essential for high-tech industries. They're in electric vehicle batteries, wind turbines, solar panels, and even military tech like F-35 jets and missile systems. But here's the problem. China dominates the extraction, processing, and refining of these minerals. In 2024, the EU imported 98% of its rare earths from China, and the US wasn't far behind, relying on China for about 80% of its supply. China's control gives it massive leverage. In April 2025, they tightened export restrictions on rare earth magnets, sending shockwaves through global supply chains. Automakers in Europe and Japan scrambled, and even defense contractors in the US started sweating. Why? Because without these minerals, production lines for cars, drones, and weapons could grind to a halt. So why is this such a big deal? It's not just economics, it's national security. The US Department of Defense doesn't want to rely on a geopolitical rival for materials critical to its military, and Europe? They're pushing for energy independence to meet green transition goals. But here's the kicker. Breaking free from China's grip is easier said than done. Let's look at what the US and Europe are doing to reduce their reliance. In the United States, efforts are ramping up. The Mountain Pass mine in California, which was once the world's largest rare earth producer, is back in action thanks to MP Materials. They're using eco-friendly tech to revive domestic production. The US is also partnering with countries like Australia, Brazil, and even Greenland to diversify supply sources. Over in Europe, the EU's Critical Raw Materials Act, adopted in 2024, aims to have 40% of critical minerals processed within the EU by 2030. They're fast-tracking mining permits, cutting approval times from decades to just 27 months. Plus, they're investing big in recycling. A new plant in Lac, France is set to produce 700 tons of rare earths annually by 2026, though that's still a fraction of the 12,900 tons imported in 2024. But here's where it gets interesting. Some companies like Tesla are exploring rare earth-free technologies. Imagine magnets for EV motors that don't need neodymium. Researchers are also working on alternatives to reduce dependency altogether. Plus, recycling could be a game changer. A 2024 study in Nature Geoscience found that by 2050, 30 to 40% of rare earth demand in the US and EU could come from reused or recycled materials. That's huge. Now, let's talk challenges. China's had decades to build its dominance, controlling not just mining but also the complex refining process. Rebuilding that supply chain elsewhere could take a decade and cost billions. Goldman Sachs estimates $30 billion just for EV battery magnets. Plus, new mining projects face environmental pushback, and alternative sources like Greenland are geopolitically tricky. And don't forget the trade wars. China's export curbs are seen as leverage in its ongoing tensions with the US, especially with tariffs flying back and forth. The EU's caught in the middle, facing pressure from both sides. Some analysts call this a codependent war. Everyone needs each other, but no one wants to be vulnerable. So can the US and Europe break free? It's a tough road, but they're making progress. Domestic mining, international partnerships, recycling, and new tech are all part of the strategy. Japan's a great example. They cut their reliance on Chinese rare earths from 90% to 60% after a similar crisis in 2010. It's not independence yet, but it's a start. What do you think? Can the West outmaneuver China in the rare earth race, or are we stuck in this codependent dance? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you learned something, and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues shaping our world. Oh, and check out the links in the description for more on this topic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.